Hi there, Dr. Rajiv Iyer here. I'm a practicing doctor in the USA and I have done my clinical fellowships from University of Toronto in Canada. In this video, I'm going to share with you the shocking cost of how much you're going to spend to apply for residency matching in Canada. And let's do this together. To apply for residency matching in Canada, there are 5 categories of expenses. One is you must finish the necessary exams like the MCCQ1 and NAC. The second thing is you must be a Canadian PR or a citizen. The third thing is you have some specific provincial requirements plus a language exam. The fourth thing, you apply to the CaRMS website for residency matching. And the fifth thing is your cost of traveling to Canada and staying there. I'm going to break the cost of each of this. The first thing, let's talk about the exams. MCCQ1 is the exam you would require to apply for residency matching. The application fee for this exam is 1,420 Canadian dollars. Of course, this is at the time of me recording this. This might change in the future, but it's unlikely to increase to a significant level. To prepare for this exam and get good scores, you need study materials. One of the things we recommend is USMLE Step 2 CK. This is a subscription-based software, and for a 6-month subscription, it approximately costs you 640 Canadian dollars. The other book you would need is First Aid for Step 2 CK. The cost of this plus the shipping, taxes, everything is going to be approximately 90 Canadian dollars. The other thing you may need is what is called as Toronto notes. If you buy a print version of this, it is going to cost you approximately $205 plus taxes and shipping, which might be about $225 or more depending on what part of the world you're living in. Quite a few IMGs buy another software called Canada Q Bank. This is again a subscription-based software, and this can cost you approximately $280. Now the costs I'm mentioning are applicable to you whether you're a medical student, whether you've graduated out of medical college or medical school, or you might have even completed residency in your home country and now want to do residency in Canada. The concepts stay the same for all of you. Sure, there are a lot of other study materials out there, and if you end up buying any of those, you can always factor in these numbers into the calculation. We actually will be building a calculator on our website where you can go in and then check all these numbers at any time, so you know exactly how much you would be spending for your move to Canada to apply for residency matching. Is this making sense so far? All right, fantastic. You purchased all your study materials for MCCQ1. You're ready to write your exam. At this stage, many people decide to take some preparatory examinations. Now, the MCCQ1 officially offers some of this. The cost for this is a huge $530 just for the practice test. They also offer 2 other practice tests, one called the MCQ examinations, the other called the clinical decision making, and the total cost for this is $250. The next big expense is the NAC exam, the National Assessment Collaborative. The application fee for this is $3,145. This might include some administration fee. Now, if you decide to cancel the test date, postpone the test date, you may incur additional charges, and it's going to be the same for MCCQ1 as well. The next thing you're expected to do is set up an account on a website called physiciansapply.ca. The one-time account setup fees is $320. This is non-refundable if you change your mind. Your documents need to be source verified, which means you have to send your documents through a portal to Canada, and they will verify all your documents to say it is actually authentic. The fees for this is $220 for each credential. In this case, say for example, you have your internship certificate. So you would be paying $220 for that. If you have already done residency and you need to verify that, another $220. So depending on how many credentials you need verified, you can add these numbers. There are a few additional services that may be required. One is educational credential assessment report fee, which is $124. The second one is an LMCC application fee, which is $255. That is a lot of numbers. Now, if I add all this, the expense you're going to have is approximately $7,500 for the examination part of this. Do you think it's a lot? Comment below yes or no. The next big category of expense is the immigration. Now you have to be a Canadian permanent resident to do residency in Canada. The application fee with the right to permanent residence fees. Now I'm using the Atlantic Immigration Program here for an example. The fees is $1,365 for each person. If you're adding your spouse to the permanent residency application, then you include another $1,365. How about if you have children? It is $230 for every child. So if you have 2 children, then you can expect to spend $460 on the application fees. Next, you need biometrics, which is your fingerprinting. The charge for this is $170. I think this is the maximum for the family. So thankfully, even if you have a bigger family, to my understanding, you're going to spend a maximum of $170 in this. Sure, there may be exceptions. So the total amount you're going to spend on immigration for you, your spouse, and 2 children is $360. If you hire an immigration consultant, then obviously you're going to be including their fees into this as well. The next biggest category of expense is the English language exam plus some of the specific provincial requirements. The English language that you're expected to take is the IELTS, the International English Language Testing System. Here is a really stupid thing. You got to listen to this. If you're applying for residency matching, you're expected to take the academic module of the IELTS, and the approximate cost of this is $300. Since you're also going to apply to Canadian permanent residency, you're expected to take the IELTS general version. Does this make any sense? Absolutely not. But this is the expectation. Now in this case, you would be taking the general training version. Your spouse would be taking the general training version for the permanent residency application if he or she is on the application. So you're looking at an expense of each of this of approximately $300. So $300 for the academic version for you, and $300 plus $300 for the general training version for you and your spouse, for a total of $900. Depending on your comfort in English, you may even consider taking a course to be better at IELTS. Sure, I understand that and I respect that if you need one of those, and you can factor in the expense for that. In terms of the specific provincial requirements, many provinces expect you to take a test called CASPER. The cost for CASPER is thankfully not a lot. It's 50 Canadian dollars. And you also need to get a number called MINC, the Medical Identification Number of Canada. Thankfully, this is probably the only thing in the entire process that is free. Take it. Depending on what province you're getting into, for example, British Columbia, Saskatchewan may have additional requirements that you may have to complete to be eligible to apply for residency matching through CaRMS. All right, so let's say you become a Canadian permanent resident. You finished all the exams, finished all the requirements. Now you're ready to apply to CaRMS matching through their website. The initial fees is $300 for this. It's still not done. Keep listening. There are a lot of additional fees here. When you apply for residency, you can send to any number of programs. Each program will cost you 50 Canadian dollars. So let's say, for example, you're applying for family medicine and you decide to send to 10 different programs. Then you would be spending a total of $500 to send to all these 10 different programs. It's true for any specialty. Now the numbers I'm saying is an average. There is a range here. Some specialties are less expensive, some are a little more expensive. The difference or the delta is not a lot, but there is a range. They do charge an additional fee called a verification fee of $115. There is an administrative fee of $55. If you're not from a primarily English-speaking country and your documents are not in English, you would be spending a little more money. The translation service fee for MSPR, Medical School Performance Record, is $320. Because of the electronic system they're using, they charge a handling fee of $300. If any of the documents is returned as an IMG, each document will cost you $121. So be very careful when you submit your application to CaRMS, because everything you do, any mistakes, any corrections will cost you a lot of money. So the entire CaRMS application, assuming you're applying to 10 different programs, is going to cost you approximately $1,720. The next category of expense is your airfare. You have to travel to Canada. The flight charges can be different in different countries. Of course, it's going to depend on what season you're flying, the cabin class you're booking in, so many factors. But I'm going to take an average of 2,500 Canadian dollars for you to fly from your home country into Canada. Sure, this might be different and you can factor in your numbers here. Now, if you include all this, $7,500 for your exam fees, $3,360 for your immigration fees, $950 for your IELTS and some of the provincial requirements, plus $1,720 of your CaRMS application fee, plus $2,500 of your airfare, then you're looking at a total of 16,000 Canadian dollars. To my Indian friends, this is approximately 13.5 lakh rupees. You can use Google and check your own currency to see how much you would be spending for this. Hang on, there is still more to spend here. If you move to Canada and you end up without a job, then you must have enough money to sustain yourself. Let's say you're taking a rental apartment, so I'm going to say you can factor in approximately 2,000 Canadian dollars. This is especially important if you're moving with your spouse and children, because of course you need to have a decent place to live in. If you're traveling by yourself, this costs maybe less than 2,000 Canadian dollars. Canada is an expensive place. If you end up needing to factor in your expenses for a family with 2 children, you can approximately consider $1,500 to $2,000 you would need for your expense. Sure, it depends on the lifestyle you're going to say, but what I'm saying is the average numbers. Because you're spending so much money, it is really critical you get the appropriate help in order to be successful with your application, and that's what we offer at IMG Secrets. You can go to our website, check our experts, and you can certainly book an appointment with us if you need our help in crafting your application or being a part of your journey, where we can start today and help you with each and every aspects of your CaRMS application through our Road to Residency program. So because we want to ultimately see you being successful with your residency matching. As you saw, you're going to spend quite some time and money in all this. This is a huge investment and you don't want to go to waste. How about the option of not doing residency in Canada and directly transition to becoming a fellow and then directly a consultant in Canada, so you don't have to go through the pain of applying to residency? Sure, there is an option for that. And I have a video made exactly for this that I encourage you to check this out. If you have any questions, you can always post in the comments below. I try to get back to you as soon as possible because I know answers to these questions are key in your success. Take care, stay safe, we'll talk to you soon.